Imagine going on a fun outdoorsy adventure and getting trapped under a boulder. Oh, and by the way, this is a true story. No cap. As our journey begins, we meet Aron, today's biggest loser. He can be seen rummaging through his house, stuffing his bag with equipment. He packs food, drinks, batteries, and a camera before sprinting out the door and hopping in his whip. Aron makes his way down the freeway and through the desert while the moon looms high in the sky. While driving, he grabs his camera and records himself as he gets knocked around by the harsh landscape. This is awesome! A few hours later, Aron arrives at his destination, a campsite in the middle of nowhere with no other people in sight. Perfect. He sleeps in his car for the night, but as soon as the sun rises on a happy Saturday morning, he gets on his bike and starts pedaling through the sandy jungle.
4.5 hours to the big drop rappel. I aim to take 45 minutes off that.
He speeds through the desert, narrowly missing trees and boulders. Fortunately, he's an expert biker, so he'll be fine. Oh, anyway, he reaches the start of the trail and ties his bike to a tree to continue on foot. He scales up a small hill and looks out at the barren yet majestic desert as he hears the voices of two girls from below. Who knew this was a spot to pick up chicks? It appears that they're lost and need some help. I've seen the way this plotline plays out. But actually, Aron points them in the right direction and even offers to take them there. They arrive at the start of the trail, but Aron gets a better idea. He's got a way cooler spot in mind.
Guaranteed! Best time you can have with your clothes on.
Okay, my man's got game. Aron and the girls, Megan and Christy, are climbing between two mountainsides. The gals are sweating, but it's clear that Aron is a seasoned pro. All of a sudden, he tells them to trust him. Well, we don't really know you, but okay. Oh my god. Oh, he's fine. He shouts at them from below, and as it turns out, there's a cozy pool down there. The girls cannot resist following this brave man into the shadowy depths. Damn, that looks fun. The group proceeds to drop down again and again until, like all things in life, the fun wears off. That got dark, sorry. Anyway, as they're about to part ways, Aron asks if he'll see them again. Yeah, we're actually hosting a party tomorrow night. You should definitely come. They give him the address and tell him to look for the big Scooby-Doo inflatable. Personally, I was always a SpongeBob enjoyer. Aron continues on his journey, taking photos along the way. He passes through many narrow walkways before jumping down from one ledge to another. In an effort to stabilize his descent, he grabs onto a boulder. Alright, this feels pretty stable. Now I just gotta ease my way down nice and easy. Oh my god. He pauses for a moment, processing what just happened. Oh, my arm. Well, that's a conundrum. He tries everything to get it loose, but nothing seems to work.
This is insane!
He spends the next 30 minutes trying to free himself before shouting out into the empty desert that lies above.
It's Aron!
Then, he drinks some water and starts a timer on his watch. A few hours later, he empties his bag onto the jerk of a boulder that put him there and assesses his options. Hey, maybe I should cut my arm off. Yeah, but look man, we've got a whole video to fill, so can you just hold off for now? Instead, he uses the knife to chisel away at the boulder, but not long after. Now, most people would give up at this point, but Aron is built different. He picks up a stick, places it between his toes, and lowers his foot down. Angling himself just right, he manages to lift the knife back up.
That's sweet.
When you're literally trapped between a rock and a hard place, it's the little things that bring joy. Aron experiments with cutting his hand off, but he's not quite desperate enough yet, so he saves the idea for a rainy day. Cause you know, I'm sure Christy will come back and save me, right? The sun sets and he's still chiseling away at that boulder, barely making a dent. This is like a cursed Minecraft video. Aron's water is running dangerously low and he checks his watch to see that it just ticked midnight. Sunday, new day and a new start. But not for Aron. He's still very much trapped. He dozes off to sleep for a moment, dreaming of previous hikes. You know, ones that didn't involve life or death situations. Ha, the good old days. Also, it seems he's been spoiled by his Tempur-Pedic mattress, as he struggles to catch any Z's on his less than cozy boulder bed. So, he wakes up and gets to work on building himself a proper one. Or at least as proper as you can get when you're at the bottom of a canyon. He throws his rope over the boulder, latching it onto a rock. He attaches himself with a harness, allowing him to lean back. It ain't much, but it's honest work. He falls asleep for the night, but wakes up with a bit of a sore back. Which is a great reminder to always pack your memory foam pillow when you go rock climbing. The next morning, he continues to chip away at the boulder. Soon, he's rewarded by the sun gods as he bathes in the glorious vitamin D they provide. I love D. Then, he reaches his arms and legs out into the sun while reliving a childhood memory. A young Aron could be seen sitting with his father, looking out at the desert. If only his dad had warned him about all the slithery snakes that live out there, then maybe he never would have got into this dumb, dangerous hobby. That's a joke, climbing enthusiasts. Relax. Back to the present day, Aron grabs his camera and starts recording. He gives an overview of the situation. I'm sad to report that my girlfriend has died. That's right, his right hand hasn't received blood in over 24 hours, so it's long gone. He asks that whoever finds the recording tells his parents that he loves them and to delete his internet history. Relatable. All of a sudden, sand starts falling from above. Believing it to be another hiker, he shouts out asking for help, but with no response, he prepares for another lonely night. Also relatable. The temperature falls to a brisk 44 degrees. so he wraps rope around his arms and legs and covers his head in his backpack. Hungry, he prepares himself an indulgent dinner, burrito. Having finished his feast, he starts imagining what's going on outside the canyon. He pictures himself at the party he was invited to as he sings the Scooby-Doo theme song.
Where are you?
It do be kind of a bop. Now thirsty after his dinner, he opens his bottle and takes a few sips before contemplating drinking the last few droplets that remain. Having decided against it, he puts the bottle down. Aaron proceeds to regretfully relive moments from his past. Man, I've done a lot of stupid things in my life. Like, I really shouldn't have bought that $700 life-size Batman statue. Nah, who am I kidding? That was amongst the greatest purchases of my life. Perhaps ever. In his memories, we see him at his house getting ready for the day as his mother tries calling him. He doesn't pick up and regrets not being able to talk to her, not knowing at the time that it would have been his last chance to do so. Come Monday morning, he's itching to get out of there. He sets up a pulley system tying ropes and clips around the boulder in an attempt to lift up through his weight and strength. It doesn't seem to be working, so he gives up on the idea. Instead, he goes to take another drink of water, but quickly realizes that it has been days since he last went to the toilet, so he quickly solves that problem. He picks up the camera and starts recording again, explaining the situation to the viewer. Hey, that's my job. He explains his bowel movements before talking about the same bird that always flies above him at the same time each morning, and how, for 15 minutes each day, he gets a little bit of sunlight. He concludes by telling his family that he loves them and that he will always be with them. Later that day, he manages to create a makeshift tourniquet and ties it around his arm extremely tightly. That's right, the moment we've all been sadistically waiting for has finally arrived. Aaron begins to dig into his arm, but only manages to make himself a little sore with the blunt instrument. After all his attempts at escaping failing thus far, he takes a moment to rest, and accidentally drops his water bottle, spilling everything but a few more drops. He continues to relive his past. This memory is a little more on the adult side. As he's lying in the back of his car with a beautiful girl, Rana, he springs into action, if you know what I mean. It's no doubt a beautiful memory. Though it is quickly interrupted by the cracking of thunder and the pattering of raindrops. Once more, he springs into action, this time literally. It seems the rain gods have blessed him. That's right, water's back on the menu, boys. However, the blessing soon turns into a curse as the canyon floods with water. Neck deep in muddy water, he dives down and loosens his arm from the boulder. He races out of the water and soon to the surface of the canyon. He makes his way to his car and drives back to Rana's house. Psych.
Wait! Good morning, everyone!
Yeah, it was just a dream. Tuesday is here, marking his third day stuck in the canyon. Alongside being trapped alone for so long comes delusion. Trust me. Aaron spends the morning pretending to be both a special guest on a news show and the host. In my case, I pretend to be funny. He jokes with himself, saying he should have told someone where he was going, but ultimately didn't. He tells the camera that his boss will notice that he's not there today. But even if he goes to the police about it, he won't be declared a missing person until it's too late. He finishes the last of his water before getting intense heart pains. Realizing that there's no hope of rescue, Aaron takes action. Alright, let's tighten this bad boy up and get to chopping. Aaron moves the knife around and finds bone. Though he takes the knife out as thirst takes over, he decides to go full Bear Grylls mode and drink some of his own juices that he saved from earlier.
It's no Slurpee.
You just haven't learned to use your imagination yet, boy. That night, as the temperature starts dropping, he puts the bag over his head and looks over his recordings from earlier. Then, the video accidentally pauses just as Christie's chest enters the frame. Look, this wasn't my proudest moment, but a man has needs. Afterwards, he carves his name into the canyon. In 1,000 years from now, archaeologists will forever regard this as the bravest wank in history. Bravo, Aaron. His hallucinations continue as old memories start physically appearing in his environment. First, he sees his boo walk past him, and then he sees Bluejohn, the discoverer of the canyon range. Finally, he hallucinates his whole family sitting on a couch below him, as they just stare at him. He starts believing that this boulder has been waiting for him since the start of time. He looks back at the couch and sees a hallucination of him and his future son dancing. And with that, he looks down at his arm and knows what needs to be done. He jumps back from the harness, snapping the bone. He screams in pain before proceeding to dig through the skin and muscles with a blunt knife. He begs himself not to pass out as he rips out all the tendons in his arm. He continues to dig, cut, and rip out everything in his arm before finally pulling himself free. Now covered in blood and barely conscious, he climbs his way out of the canyon, but not before snapping one last photo to remember his momentous victory against nature. He sees a pool of muddy water below and scales down the cliffside to reach it. Even though he can hear flies and smells God knows what, he fills 4 entire bottles full of the water. Then, he searches for help and eventually happens upon 2 young families. I need help! They give him some fresh water and he passes in and out of consciousness before an emergency helicopter arrives and takes him away, leaving his hat to be immortalized in the desert sand.